What's up, guys? Let's play some more Legacy here on the channel. As you know, I love tempo decks, so let's revisit Izzet with all of the new metagame developments in mind. Izzet Delver, Izzet Cutter Delver, Izzet Tempo, you can call it whatever you want. The point is, this deck is trying to finish games early and often. It has the full 8 1-drops to make Daze Wasteland as good as possible. Then for your more sticky, high-power threats, we have a 3/3 Murktide and Core Steel Cutter split. Mana Base has a Surveil land, which is pretty nice to keep the engine running. Flex slots is probably something like the Heat to have a little bit more creature coverage and a chance in hell against Baragoyf. Preordain for a little bit extra turning. Blue Count, Flipping Delver, all of that jazz. And then Brazen Borrower, which is just a solid catch-all, whether you need to bounce a Baragoyf, Chalice, opposing Murktide, or what have you. Sideboard is where I've made the most tweaks. I'm playing a 2 copies of Rough Tumble. I think sweepers are quite important right now with Energy and Cradle Control putting up huge results, and those being popular decks in general. Then I am down to only a single Abrade for Chalice removal, which is a little bit scary, but hopefully we'll be fine. And then down to a single Hydroblast after the actual mirror match is down in percentage points. I'm back up to 3 Consigned to Memory. Seems like between Eldrazi, Mono Red Prison, Forge, Post, Painter, Storm decks, this card will be fine, but the third one is certainly on the watch list. I'm still on a couple of Surgicals as Graveyard Hate. I do value having more keeps on the draw against Oops All spells. Force Negation, random combo catcher, so that should be good. Second Heat to help against Baragoyf. Let's see what we can do in some matches. All right, here we are. Round 1, I won the die roll with my Izzet Tempo deck, and this hand looks awesome. I can play turn 1 Delver of Secrets, turn 2 Cutter, and I can say no to my opponent's stuff. What's not to like? Let's go and grab Volcanic. 2 things I want to mention here. I see people fetching Basic Island too much with this deck. Basically, you have to realize that if you fetch Basic Island, you'll be sheltered from Wasteland on that specific land. But if your next land is Volcanic Island, you just softer to mid-game Wasteland. So this is not like the Mirror Tempo where you actually have both basics available. Second thing I wanted to mention is this deck is a little bit scary into the Mirror being the deck to beat in Legacy. So let's see if we can dodge that this league. All right, Veteran Explorer I think is a card I will happily daze. That card is kind of hard to beat if they have anything to go with it. So let's try that. This is like old times playing against, I almost forgot the name. Nic Fit? Yeah, that's the one. Let's see about the Delver. No flip. So now I'll probably be using Brainstorm to flip the Delver next time. So let's just play the normal land. This was, by the way, a consideration. You could let this go, upkeep Brainstorm, commence the beatdown, but I would rather just have cards like Cabal Therapy, stuff like that, be bad against me. Ooh, the opponent wants to do the exact same thing here. I feel like I should Brainstorm a response. If I find a Daze, I'm a little bit of a genius. Well, there's that. So now maybe the Cutter is just off here. So I just go Cutter back, Ponder back, Daze this, and then flip with Ponder, cast Ponder, move away from the Cutter essentially. So next card I know about, so I should fetch here. C3 fresh ones. These should be better than random magic cards. So let's see. Do I need to force twice the next couple of turns? Probably not. I can maybe go like this. And now if I have to force, I pitch the Brazen. Then I'll develop the Cutter, have 1 turn off the force. And then the following turn, I'll Ponder. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I have to pitch force to force here, actually. Let's see what the opponent's play is. Rumble. We can let that happen. Because how does this play out? I play the cutter, and then I want to ponder and activate the cutter. And then maybe it's better for me to be left with the Brazen Borrower. Yeah, I think that's the case. All right, let's play the cutter. So the opponent could have Orcish Bowmasters, a card that is going to be mildly annoying for sure. Also, I should probably check what the opponent got with that card. They chose to go with a land. Okay, so the opponent has the next land lined up from the Catacombs milled over. That's pretty cool. The opponent could try and reanimate Emrakul here. That's really cool. Grist. So, funnily enough, I need to let this happen because I'm losing to the Emrakul out of the graveyard. Grist resolves. Here's a 1/1. So now, let's see. Let's see if the opponent has Orcish Bowmasters or like Abrupt Decay or what have you. Assassin's Trophy on that card. Let's think. I'm drawing Ponder for the turn. So let's see. How much damage do I have if I bounce my opponent's Insect? I force that card. I cast Ponder. Then I still think I'm losing to the Emrakul. It's flying. Protection from what? Protection from instants, so I cannot brazen it. So I probably have to let this happen. And then the Grist stays in play, which is super annoying. What's the other line? The other line is... So let's see, next turn. I'm going to attack for 3. Then I'm going to play Ponder, hold up Brazen. If the opponent -2 Grists, I'll bounce the Insect to time walk them. It looks like I'll end up a little bit short here, no matter how I slice it. Assassin's Trophy on the cutter. Yep, that worked. And I'm actually not going to fetch the land. I'm going to draw the Ponder. Okay. As always, cool games to start out with. Here's Wasteland. Here's Wasteland, but I don't think I need that card. I think I want a Channeler. Super annoying I have to attack my opponent's Planeswalker now. So draw the Channeler. Play the Channeler, play the land. Attack Grist. I'm a little bit lucky that the opponent is taking, damage off of lands, and this could be a tough one. They might turn the corner here. The opponent's going to make another 1/1. That's fine. Milling over Therapy is insane. That's one of the best things I've ever seen. Wow. Well, the thing is, I can't really do anything about this. My opponent's going to name Force of Will. Wow. That was strong. That was very, very strong. Names the 3rd days instead of Force of Will. Yeah. That is probably not the winning play. Now they're going to force the issue from the Catacombs. Well, let me fetch first here. to surveil. Against non-dazed decks, this is a good play to kind of inform your move. Let's say I have a new blue card on top. I can pitch the Brazen here. Lightning Bolt. So if I keep this card, yes, I should for sure do that. Force a Will, pitch Force a Will. Keep the Bolt. So now, if I hit my opponent to 4, they can never use any of these peatlands. I think that should be good for me. And now the question is, should I bounce the Grist? That's probably a good play. But maybe I can wait. Let's say they minus the Grist. Yeah, maybe I can wait. Yeah, the opponent was supposed to name Force Will there and have an Emrakul in play. Also, yeah, so now... let's bounce this one in response. Put a land away. Basically fizzle the Grist activation. Now they need something like Pernicious Deed. I'm just thinking about old stuff. But I guess they don't have that card. They would have played it. Here is another card I don't know. Destroy all creatures. We can fire this off in response. So basically we cannot let this deck get to a lot of mana. That's kind of the name of the game. Wow, I have a lot of bad cards against this deck. Is Surgical viable? Consign, I think, is viable because of the Veteran Explorer trigger. Negation might be viable because of big Zeniths, small Zeniths. Does not counter Grist, though. So maybe Lightning Bolt. That's like the worst card in my deck. I need to cut one more card. How good is Unholy Heat? And do I want a second? Unholy Heat can kill a Grist. That's not bad. So maybe this opponent has gotten dazed enough that we can cut that card. Usually you can sideboard based on what happened in the previous game. So the opponent got blown out by daze twice. Well, maybe not blown out, but, you know, it was good twice, and then they even named it with therapy, so that tells us a lot about the opponent's mindset, right? Yeah, let's try this. So sometimes you can take that into account and add to your, you know, predetermined way to sideboard. Okay, this hand looks fine. I'm soft to... I have to Force a Will and Explorer, which is so annoying, but, you know, it's the name of the game. I think I'll pitch Brainstorm here. I think it's nice to have a sorcery in the yard for delirium purposes. So let's see what we draw here. Island. I mean, land is not bad. I'm going to play the Channeler here, even though I'm super soft to land Go Masters. So what I could do here was cast Preordain and kind of delay myself. Hopefully get to Delirium before casting those cards. But I think if I'm doing that, I'm giving my opponent too much time. Ooh, second Forest. That's not good for the opponent. Let's see. Daze. That is very good for me. Let's play a second Channeler. Cast Preordain. So now double the looks to get to Delirium. Yes, opponent. You can cycle your Veil of Summer. Ponder. We should probably put that to the yard to keep digging for Delirium. And there it is. Nice. So bottom, top, artifact, land away. Is this card good? It looks like it's very good. I'll be soft to stuff like Deed and what have you, but I think this is going to be fine. do this before, you know, Bowmaster's potentially live and start attacking with some flying 3/3s. Draw the Chandler here. So, as I mentioned, it doesn't help me on this exact turn, but it helps me in the context of the opponent having Orcish Bowmasters. Assassin's Trophy onto that card. No bonus for me. I'm going to shuffle for good measure. So now I feel even better about, you know, the Chandler if my opponent's going to kill my stuff. Ooh. So now I can go Cutter into Chandler. Usually it's great to get into these spots where spell is a good draw, land is a good draw. This card should be good because on this turn cycle, I'll Chandler and Daze, then I'll play a land and hold up Heartcast, and that's kind of the, you know, that's what I got this game, essentially. I expect we'll see another cycle here, end of turn. Take 5. Oh, I guess they can't cycle. I didn't cast a blue spell, a black spell. Okay. So the good thing is, Veil doesn't do anything against Daze, because if they have an excess mana, Daze doesn't work, right? So we're not getting blown out by that card. I'm trying to think about my next card. My next card is Force of Negation, so I am not going to do this. Okay, they keep bricking here. That's very good for me. Let's attack for 5, and it's now very important for the opponent to do something. What I could do if they cast anything is trigger the Cutter and to get a token. Let's see what this is. Ooh, this looks like something that'll get blown out by my hand. If I trigger it twice and I find a spell, I win the game. I should probably do something like cast this, respond, negate it. So we can resolve this one first. So that's not a spell. Let's do this. Okay, the opponent concedes here. Let's see, 3, 5. I think I only have 6 damage here. So I don't think the opponent's dead. I need to find an actual spell because this, you know, the monk turns into a 1/1 and all of that jazz. Magic Online doesn't let me check. But the whole point was here then, if I find a spell on either the first or the second or my draw step, then I'll just attack for lethal and my opponent will have no more turns. But yeah, I mean, classic Nic Fit. You cannot let your veteran explorer, the opponent's veteran explorer, see the light of day. And if that happens, you know, you'll be playing the game on your terms, which is, you know, low resourced. And yeah, we were lucky to emerge victorious this time. Let's play some more Magic the Gathering. Guys, I'm absolutely over the moon to be powered by 4 Seasons, and let me talk to you a little bit about the 2 first tournaments of the year. Late February, we have the Winter Tournament. The Winter Tournament, aside from Legacy and Vintage, will feature Pre-Modern. You have a chance to qualify for the Pre-Modern European Masters. Then in June, we have the Spring Tournament, which will have, on top of the normal tournaments, the Italian Legacy Invitational. So there's absolutely no excuse. Go book these dates in your calendar. Get yourself to Bologna, and hopefully I'll see you there. All right, more Magic the Gathering. 7 spells. Click the mulligan button. You heard it here first. Okay, this looks awesome. I will put back the Wasteland and see where the rest of my hand takes me. The logic is basically that Wasteland is a 1-for-1 resource, so if I'm doing that while, you know, down a card, it's not really ideal. Ooh, Eldrazi. So I could get severely punished for my deck building choices here. Let's see. Chandler is probably the move here. I was considering briefly if Delver was the the most damage output. Dace. Okay, I'm actually going to bank on this Dace. I believe you, Dace. Dace, usually not the best card against Eldrazi. Wastegate Battle Mage is good to know about. Yeah, my version's a little bit soft to Chalice. So let's just check the sideboard. 1, 2, 3, and some negations. Yeah. Hopefully, yeah, exactly. I get to Daze a 3-drop here. I'm also going to like the Force of Will. Don't Spirit Guide me, bro. Okay, okay, not bad. Am I gonna... Yeah, I'm gonna play a Delver. I think that's the best investment over time. So hopefully I get to force the next spell and attack for 6. That's kind of the development I'm hoping for. This is an Ancient Tomb, so potentially even better. I cannot let this happen, because that card will lead to very bad things. This gives me Delirium, so I should do that. Thought Not Seer taking my Ponder is very annoying. I'm, you know, relatively happy if I flip the Delver, then I can live with it, but it's certainly a good turn for the opponent. Mishra's Bauble. Okay. Let's see what I got on top. Quarry Steel Cutter. That card sucks. All right, let's attack with the Flyer. Try and use the Bauble to flip the Delver. How do I do that the best with... How do I do that the best with a Surveil and a Bauble at the ready? Now the opponent can bounce. Bouncing the Channeler. Yes. I'll take 4. It looks like this is a game where I have to escape with a bolt at some point. Thundering Falls. That's not a bolt. Put that back. Bauble. That is a good one. So now need to flip with Delver first. Draw the Brainstorm and draw that card. So what I could do here is Brainstorm, fetch Channeler, end up with a better card in hand. But I think maybe I need the most looks for the bolt to win the game. The math here is 3 now, 6 next turn. Here's Cavern, not a card I care about in particular. It's all about the rest of the opponent's hand here. They know about the Brainstorm. Linebreaker and Obligator are both super scary at this point. Are any of those lethal? That's basically the only question I care about. Linebreaker. Let's see. Linebreaker would be 3 Eldrazi, 7, 9, 12. But I can block. Here's Obligator. So let's see how much this is. 3, 6, 6. Yeah, I can't fetch now. Huh? Yeah, I can't fetch, then I die. Alright. I think I have to be very lucky to win the game now. Oh, shoot. It's just a 1-1 on that side of the table. That's really funny. So, I have decent outs here. I go to 3, and the opponent has to pass. Okay, that changes a lot. 3 is not 1. So until end of turn. So this is not a... Okay, so this... I kind of have to pass priority here to get it back. That's interesting. Okay, so now I need to find the bolt. That's the only card that saves me, I believe. Maybe I can... Nope. I was about to say if I brainstorm into land Murktide. That doesn't work, because then I have to go to 2. This is a must attack. So this is bolt or bust. Let's see. Will this fetch line be more valuable pre or post brainstorm? Let's try and understand what happens if I brainstorm now. Put back 2 shitters. Keep 2 cards. That could be under land. So then the shuffle could be valuable. Okay, so we turn post brainstorm. And we don't have the exact scenario. We do have I think I just died because this is a must attack. If I play creature, I have 2 blockers. Yes, I lose here. Okay. So if I thin pre, I add the chance of finding bolt directly. If I fetch pre, I'm opening up land plus ponder combinations. That's cool. Yep. That's exactly what I needed. Okay. That was a sweet one. A little bit of a puzzle to solve. I love consigns, and I'll think hard about negations. So let's see. That deck, Lightning Bolt is surprisingly good against it. Braid is good. I forgot about that card. So Quarry Steel Cutter might be a little bit too ambitious against them. I can see cutting those. Maybe we can cut like a Heat. Heat does not Heat kills Thought Nuts here. But I think it's just the Dazes that have to go. And then we roll up with this. I think this is solid. Ooh, that was a cool game. Very close margins. And of course the Bolt laughing in my face there. Playing first. This hand is fine. Nothing special. Especially the fact that they play Wastegate Battle Mage is scary. I cannot really lean on the Murktide. Do I want this second land? Probably do. Draw. Then I'm gonna surveil. Yeah, this is scary because if I don't have a 1-drop, they can kind of take over. Here's everybody's favorite card. So I will respond here. Cast Brainstorm. Find a Braid. Not bad, not bad. So Unholy Heat is my worst magic card. Chalice Resolves. Then I think I'm going to hold up Consign. Get ready to Abrade. And then next turn is my Wasteland turn. I get blown out a little bit by Cavern here. But this is fine. Thorn. So, funnily enough, that card could be beatable. So if I Abrade the Chalice in response. Let's see. What's my alternative? My alternative is to go Consign to Memory on the Thorn. Next turn. Waste their Temple. Play Murktide. Potentially. Yeah, and then just having Abrade. having a braid for later, essentially, saying Murktide Regent is strong on its own. Alternative being kill the Chalice in response, untap, do what? Then I'm playing Under the Thorn. Okay, yeah. The thing is, the Thorn is basically making all of my spells cost double the mana. So let's consign. Getting around to Chalice nicely. Then leaving them with Ancient Tomb for damage. Murktide, leaving Artifact in the graveyard. I think that's fine. Worth noting is a 5/5 dies to dismember. That would be a sad day at the office. Okay, the opponent has another temple, but no play, so we do like that. Attack for 5. Unfortunately, the opponent's gonna K command a lot of the time here. Ooh, they're not. Okay, so they have a hand with a bunch of colored Eldrazi. That's very good for me. Okay, so we got there because they had a million colored cards. That's interesting. But to be fair, they need to keep any Chalice hand and play from there, especially like you have Thorn to follow it up with. So my hand just lined up quite nicely with my slow hand had consign for one of them, waste them a little bit, and then play a Murktide. And then when they have a million Battle Mages and Line Breakers and what have you in hand, then, you know, it was somewhat easy. If the opponent has some kind of play here, I'll Abrade end of turn, unlock my hand, and start, you know, playing the game. So, all in all, I was excited for that game, but, you know, the opponent didn't get there. Sometimes you just don't get to play the game. That's just magic, right? Single cutter in my deck versus the first days. Maybe I could have the first days. Maybe cutter is just bad because I'm forcing their plays and I don't really get the wiggle room to develop. So the first days is a glorified Pokemon card. Just blue in my 6/4 setup. I don't expect to daze anything. The tap land is very bad here, let me say that. I don't think I can keep this. I'm losing to Chalice, I'm losing to random aggro. I don't have any of their range covered, essentially. Alright, let's keep this and get rid of the Surveil land. This is going to be iffy, because my you know, my force and stuff is accounted for. Maybe negation was a good draw. So we can get lucky here that the opponent has some, like, Ancient Tomb, Fleshraker. I get to kill it with heat. Maybe I even get to daze. Looks like I get to daze a Fleshraker. See, that's what I told you. I didn't expect to daze anything impactful. No, but seriously, this is pretty lucky. Now the question is, should I go for Surveil Land here? If I go Surveil Land, I'm probably developing that next turn. I could also just insta Brainstorm to try and find a 1-drop. Or, you know, Brainstorm now, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna Brainstorm now and see what I have to work with. Okay, so I'm building towards Murktide Regent this game. Well, I'm dazing that back, then I'm passing, and I want to hold up Bolt, so... And I don't want this Thought Knot Seared next turn. So putting back those two... Dazing on the draw, one of my favorite activities. And then I'm gonna Play land pass. Holding up lightning bolt in case they have a line breaker draw. Okay, so because I have Murktide Regent on top of my deck, I don't think I have to counter this. Is that true? Let's try and understand the math here. Will I have to bolt my opponent? Okay. This is a little bit tricky because this card will, you know, it's mainly the 4/4 that's relevant. It's not the Thoughtseize ability. And I have to think about my graveyard. Okay, so hiding the Merc is, you know, it's a good start. But I need to bolt my opponent's face and force a will something in order to reap the rewards. And even then, my opponent has a million creatures that bounce the Murktide. So I think I'm in trouble here. Courtyard is fine. Now the question is, do I have to bolt my opponent? Ooh, they passed the turn. That's unfortunately for me very well played. The reason to bolt my opponent is if I draw a natural land. That is the non-fetch, essentially. It seems so bad to bolt. Maybe I can take one more turn of not doing that. Is that even true? One more turn? I don't exactly like it. They could have, like, Obligator, etc. Point is I'm probably cooked. Okay. Let's play a Delver. Obligator is an insane card to have. Bounce guy is insane. So now at least I have a combination between blocking and bolting that works. That is fine. So, okay, I'm losing to some 7-drop now. Let's do a count here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now this is I have Ugin activation, unfortunately, but I think that's how the cookie crumbles. The opponent does not fancy the Delver and Bolt trade. Yeah, I'm in big trouble. I have to take the turn. What can the Delver yield? Wasteland? Okay, not bad. Wasteland is very, very good. Now the question is, what should I wasteland? Should I wasteland Ancient Tomb? Because then the opponent is, if they activate Eye of Ugin, they'll have 1, 2, 3 mana left. I should probably do that. That's really funny. Wasteland the Ancient Tomb. Because there's a chance the opponent just has a redundant eye in hand. I don't think that would be crazy. Let's see what they go for. No matter how you slice it, I don't have a play after this. Very complicated game. I love these games where, like, if they just draw a little bit better, I just can't win, right? So I like these games that are actually up for grabs. Okay, so they go Thought-Knot Seer. I mean, they don't have Cavern, but they, you know, they could get it. I need to Force a Will that card. So now they cleared the way for the next spell, essentially. Let's see what that next spell is. Hopefully it's just like Redundant Eye of Ugin. Okay. Battle Mage that one. Unfortunately, this smells like they have another one. Or the Obligator, but I can't really do anything about it. Now the question is, am I bolting the 2/2? Does that make any sense? Bolting the 2/2 in order to make a 7/7 Murktide instead of a 6/6. I don't think that makes sense. I think it's better, like, if I draw land, I'm holding up mana for killing a line breaker. What if I play Channeler and I'm looking to do the bolt thing? Is that better than playing the Murktide? Then I have Force Pitch Delver for any big spell. I'm trying to lure out the next Battle Mage. I'm actually going to try this. Let's see how that works. Maybe this is too weak. That I'm trying to block the... I mean, if that works, I love my position. The opponent has 1,000,000 mana. We get that much. Now the question is, what is the last card? I'm basically banking on one of them being Ayabugan, because I think if they have 2 live cards, I'm just dead, period. No attack. That's great for me. No attack. Okay. Draw another Delver. Do I like this status quo? Should I try and get there with flyers in the meantime and just, you know, do the same? I think they should have attacked with the Battle Mage there. I think the chances of me hitting Delirium out of the blue is... That chance is very slim. They need to attack... Yeah. Maybe I'm missing something. That's very, very possible. So what happens if I bolt the Battle Mage here with the intention of fixing the top of my deck? Getting closer to Delirium. Still a little bit far, though. Okay, let's take the turn again. Rinse and repeat. Another Wasteland. I've seen that before. I'm not sure it does all that much. So Wasteland at Temple. A little bit unexciting. How do I get over the finish line this game? Maybe it has to do with... What if I Murktide Region now? I lose to Obligator. But when they don't have Obligator, I can start to turn the corner. This is really tough. This is really, really tough. Let's start to see if they have K Command. And then take it from there. There's a little bit about this eye staring contest. The opponent knows about these 3 cards. They don't know the Merc. Problem is, the more I wait, the more time I give them to find the cards I'm actually losing to. Okay, so it looks like the cat is out of the bag here, and I get to Force a Will. Kill that and do a bunch of things. I'm not interested in that, buddy. Put Brazen Borrower into the graveyard. Okay. You can see that. So that card gets countered. Ayabugan is basically out of the equation here after these couple of Wastelands. So now... I should probably play this card. I have postponed it long enough. It is now time to see if I'm losing to the Obligator. There's an argument. I should have made it slightly smaller, but I actually just want to try and finish the game and capitalize. They have the inevitability here, so I'm trying to, you know, make the game a little bit shorter. I also made a stop here on my upkeep. I just might fire off the bolt there. this card doesn't matter, so I assume they just drew it. We're playing against the same cards we were last turn. So it's all about answers to the Merc. Okay, so Merc gets bounced. Now the opponent can back me to 3. I think I should take that damage. And now I have to upkeep. Kill a 2/2. Oh, I need red. Yeah, unfortunately, the Battle Mage was very realistic as the last card. I'm not sure I could do anything about that, though. Here's a Ponder that I need to play second main phase. Because, you know, blocking. Another Delver I don't think is going to help me. Next turn, I can go Blocker Murktide. So let's just think here. If the opponent sends to clowns, I think I have to double block. Yeah, I'll double block the Thought Knot, albeit 1. So basically, I have to do it like this. Pass. And now I have to hope my opponent bricks. Pretty cool game. That was cool. I tried to thread the needle here, but it didn't exactly... oh, wow, third one. Okay, that's interesting. So the opponent had slow rolled a lot of those. It wasn't even Ayamugan. But that was, yeah, unbeatable, unfortunately. But I think I played decently here. Try to find a good plan to... and then try and turn the corner. But yeah, Battle Mages, very, very strong against Murktide. And yeah, the Eldrazi deck got us this time. All right, let's play one more. All right, one more round of Izzet Tempo. This hand is really bad. Can this preordain salvage? We should probably give it a go for science. So either if I have like consecutive spells, this is fine. If I find a brainstorm, it's great. Yeah, this is a close one. This is a close one for sure. Also, if my opponent's playing a deck where Bolt sucks, yeah, it's very close for those reasons. Let's say Bolt was, you know, confirmed good against my opponent's deck. This would be totally fine. Oh, wow, this is atrocious. So now comes the question. I should keep this bauble, but should I crack it now? I'll actually hang on to it. I think this hand needs a little bit of help, like rip, cutter, or combine, you know, bauble with the fetch, stuff like that. Basic forest. Let's see if we're up against the Cradle control deck. Basic forest is a little bit of a weak move, mana development-wise, so this incentivizes me to bolt the bird. Okay. Cradle control it is. Unholy Heat. Not bad, not bad. All right. Let's see what I have. I have another bauble. I'm not interested in that card. Let's think. Unholy Heat. Could be better later. Let's kill that card and draw a random card and surveil for our turn, depending on what happens. I think that's totally reasonable. Another bauble. I would do a lot of things for a Core Steel Cutter. Good news is we're into this game without being dead, and we have some looks between, you know, surveilling and bobbling and what have you. Murktide Region would be awesome. Chandler, good. Core Steel Cutter, awesome. Let's see if we can, if we need to work on the opponent's mana, we need to work on their key creatures this game. Also, the opponent must be thinking, I want a Murktide draw with no Delver and no Chandler. Let's see how desperate they get. And let's see if I'm right about the basic forest being a weak move. Let's see. Okay. I enjoy that land drop. Coming out now and not later. Here's a Zenith for Uno. Gonna accept that. Let's see what they go for. Maybe just a Mana Dork. Looks like their mana is a little bit scuffed. Okay, they go for a Mana Dork. I will surveil here because I would love to find myself Cutter or Murktide. Murktide it is. So let's see. I don't want to give my opponent a chance to endurance me. Maybe, what if I learn about the top of my opponent's deck? No, I shouldn't do that. I should learn about the top of my deck so I know whether to fetch or not. Do I want to draw Dace? Funnily enough, Dace does not look terrible here. So now, how big will the Merc be? It's going to be a 6. So Bolt looks like a reasonable finisher, but this kills White of the Reliquary. So leaving... Yeah, this is fine. Play a 6/6. Draw the Daze. I mean, my opponent's a Grist deck. My opponent might want to tap out for Zenith. Daze is a little bit hit or miss here, but I just think with the opponent's mana development, it's looking pretty nice. Now the question is it time to cash in the Daze? Or is it time to heat that and hope to Daze something later? I'll Daze here. I think bringing back the Thundering Falls is valuable as well. Let's see if the 1 life point and me spending 2 bolts will end up hurting me. Chandler, not bad, not bad. Chandler makes it less likely that the life total is going to hurt me. So we successfully identified that working on the opponent's mana was valuable this game. That was a pretty cool showcase of just simple fetch for basic forest. They're going to play some 1-drop, then I'm going to heat end of turn, and then hopefully get into Safekeeper. That's fine. Same point, really. They sacrifice the Talon to keep it alive. No, they don't. Okay. So I get to Delirium here. I get to learn about that first. So now they know Bolt is lethal. I'm not sure what they can actually do about that, but... Okay. So they are gonna Endurance pitch to shrink the Chandler, but grow the Murktide, so slightly better for them. Let's work on that Delirium. Delver. Did I find Delirium? Instant creature, land, artifact. Yes. So put back 2 lands. Play Chandler. Play Bauble. Land to the yard, attack for 10. And we get there. Very nice. All right, I have some removal spells against that deck, and that's more or less it. And I don't like my Dazes, so... These Sweepers I have really high hopes for. Endurance is a bad boy, but I do have 2 heats. If I bring in Consign against that deck, it's a little bit sketchy. So I think this is fine. But yeah, it's a scary matchup. That's why I added 2 Rough Tumbles. I didn't add them for fun. I added them to actually feel competitive against Energy and the Cradle control deck. But yeah, that was a sweet game of 9 out of 10 times. I'd work on their key creatures with my removal spells, and then 1 out of 10, you need to pounce and make them pay for the mana. Oh boy. So let's think about how this plays out. Tap land here again. That's always a delight to see that card. How does this play out? They have a commanding board, and I have to bolt a creature on turn 2. But I have some new looks with baubles, and I think this is another close keep. They're on a mulligan, which makes them a little bit softer to any, 1-for-1 removal stuff, which is good news for me. I wonder if I draw land. Okay, never mind. Let's see what you're drawing next turn, buddy. You're drawing a wasteland. Okay, I'm in trouble here. Put that into the yard. Let's play that card, I guess. Do I want 2 looks at a force? Yeah, probably. Ooh, yeah, Wasteland is cooking me good here. So now I have 3 draws to find a land or I'm cooked. Okay, we're not cooked. We get to play the game. That's always, that's the most fun, right? So the absolute best the opponent could have here is play Wasteland, play the Cub. That would be backbreaking. Absolutely backbreaking. Unfortunately, I think they're currently cooking and trying to figure out how to crush me with that exact plan. Yeah, being on the draw against like a mana dork deck that now also has Wasteland in it is rough. The ideal start is to do something like, turn 1 creature, put pressure on them in the air, essentially. Okay, so they could have... Oh. They could have, returned the Wasteland. No matter how you slice it, I cannot let that card stay in play. It's too much of a mana burst. I need the game to kind of slow down. Let's see what the opponent's going to cook me with here. Another Badger. White of the Reliquary, maybe. Yeah, I'm just on the back foot here. This game is probably not winnable. I'm going to give it a turn or 2 here. Too much stuff too fast while I'm stumbling here. On the draw with a tap land, that's a death sentence too often, unfortunately. The Wasteland was hammering home the point here. I kind of needed to have, 2 mana available this turn, do some stuff, have a Chandler in play, start digging for the Rough Tumble, stuff like that. But no such luck, and we probably get to see game 3. I guess that's good. Zenith for 3. So they just want to clear my graveyard. Or, I guess, stick a Grist. 2 great things to... 2 great options to have. Big questions here. Here's a Grist. That card is probably going to be unbeatable. I now have to preordain into a land and play a creature. Guess I'll ponder, look a little bit deeper. All right, let's try the next game. Playing first, having days seems a little bit more interesting. Maybe I should have like a couple. Let's see. Maybe doing something like this, trimming cutter a little bit. I mean, brazen is also really bad against them, so maybe a cutter is better than a brazen. Okay, we can try this. Couple of days is here to get sneaky. We also have now seen our opponent is willing to tap out for a Zenith. I mean, they were very far ahead, so it hardly counts. Rough Tumble in my opener is good. There's a little bit of a play pattern with White of the Reliquary being a 2/2, but it grows to a 3/3 if I've killed another creature, so I'll probably be thinking about that. Do I want to draw a second copy of Days? I don't think so. So let's fetch a Surveil, draw Murktide, pass. So I'm essentially trying to get off a good Rough Tumble and then play Murktide Regent. Yeah, we don't have many moves here. We can pass the turn, hope the Days is good, I guess. So Rough Tumble and Wasteland could combine nicely together. So the dream is now they play 2 creatures, and I get to kill 3 guys with Rough Tumble, waste them. Then the following turn, I get to Daze, then play a Murktide, stuff like something like that. Once upon a time. Is that a moment where I need to cash in my Daze? Then I can play Murktide Region next turn. If they stumble here. Hardcast Daze. It's basically just they... Oh, wow. The opponent has no moves here. I think this is time for me to stick a Murktide. But funnily enough, Daze is actually great here. Fetch. Play a 5/5. Leave the artifact. And now the opponent needs to explode. I'm losing to stuff like Order. Let's see if they have Snuff Out. That would be cool. Assassin's Trophy is a magic card. Magic card I would be very sad to see. Let's see if they have another one here. Yeah, so now we end up with the play pattern I talked about, where if I don't kill anything, this will actually sweep the white. So that I think that's a good one to think about. This is going to be rough for the opponent. Force a Will. Force a Will. So, like this, maybe? I think I should hold the Wasteland. There exists 2 worlds. One world where it's never going to do anything and Brainstorm helps me later. And the other world is like they play out proactive Cradle and slip up a little bit. Okay, that card doesn't do anything. It's just a mana, colorless mana here. Badgermole Cub. Badgermole Cub is fine. That is just a mana dork. I'm firmly winning the race in the air. Now the opponent has 2 mana here. And that is enough to play something into a Daze. Scythe Cat Cub. My next card is Chandler. I'm putting myself in a position where I can lose to Natural Order if I counter this. I'm not too interested in that. So, yes, resolves. Play Chandler, Bolt the Mole, I think is the move. Wasteland the Talon. Okay. Play Chandler. Bolt the Mana Dork. I can draw the Brainstorm next turn because Bolt is at the instant I need for Delirium. Attack for 5. The next turn I can attack for... I can attack my opponent down to 1 in the air. So now they basically have 1 turn. Okay, growing the Cub is fine. Here's a Grist. Grist is a card that kills Murktide. I can't let that happen. Let's Days Returning a False. Draw the Brainstorm. Okay, the opponent's seen enough. Yeah, this was pretty cool to see. Game 1, I identified their mana was weak, and that was my only way to win the game because my hand was atrocious. It only did one thing, right? Game 2, I got absolutely obliterated. On the draw, tap land, getting wasted, you know, I had 0 chance. And then this game, leveraging the sideboard card to send them packing, essentially. All I needed this game, essentially, was like a Murktide Regent and a Rough Tumble. And funnily enough, the Dazes that I brought in for Game 3 came up clutch, so it's always good to reevaluate and see what you can do. Yeah, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. As always, thank you so much for watching and following my journey here. Thank you so much for 4 Seasons. Go check them out if you're in Europe and you want to play the best tournament series. Those guys have awesome tournaments, awesome people, and awesome food in Bologna, Italy. I'll be going there in a couple of months, so hopefully I'll see you there. And hopefully I'll see you back on the channel. Thanks so much for your support, guys, and see you next time.